Hello and welcome to the Footy Times Premier League Review Show. I don't know if we still want to call it the Premier League Review Show. We'll come up with a new name because, as you'll find out, we are going to be trying out a different model this time. We in general want to make our videos a little bit shorter and more concise. So what we thought was we'd just pick out 3 talking points, which we thought are most worthy of discussion from the weekend's action, and then just discuss it. Yeah, like I said, we'll try to keep it concise, but these discussions do tend to go overboard a little bit. But yeah, we'll do our best to keep it short. Yeah, but as usual, please do like, share, and subscribe. I know we've been away for a while, but like we said last week, we are trying to come back with more videos, and we do want your engagement to sort of keep us going and help us make more in the future. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. The first talking point for this weekend, I think we have to start with the biggest game of the weekend, and sort of, I won't say it was a shock result, but it was a result which caused a lot of waves, which Manchester United games generally tend to do, especially when they lose. But the talking point that we picked out, and there were many from that game, was, and this was Sheldon's recommendation, was Harry Maguire rushed into this game, considering that he was unfit and had only one training session. What do you reckon, Sheldon? What do you have to say?
I don't know where to get started. There were a lot of things that went wrong in this game. But you know what? I guess it starts off with the captain, right? He needs to lead from the front, and he obviously led in the wrong direction. I think Ollie made a huge mistake by rushing him in. Maguire is not the... I've always had issues with the fact that, Maguire is not very consistent. He did hit a purple patch of some sort where he got some sort of consistency, but he got injured. And when he did come back, I know he was important for this game. Leicester, pushovers. They
really good in the run-in last season, wasn't he? I mean, everybody was suddenly saying,
I think, and he also did fairly well when he played for England. And during the Euros, so which is why he was given a lot of. He was important for this game as well. But the thing was, you could tell that from the get-go, like his concentration, he wasn't focused. I don't know if it was the fact that he was rushed was playing on his mind, because he made quite a few glaring errors, which ended up by we conceded goals and stuff cheaply. I feel really bad for De Gea, because he's been our best player for this season. I think he's been one of our best goalkeepers for this season, and he's been conceding goals left and right. We had the record of the being unbeaten away from home, and we've kind of lost that, and we lost it in really bad fashion as well. Conceding 4 goals. That's not acceptable. I can understand.
De Gea still man of the match. De Gea still man of the match. I think that says a lot.
No, it could have been really bad. I don't know if what do you guys think about it, but it could have easily been 5 or 6 goals easily. It was terrible. Maguire, it seemed like the whole team weren't clicking. I think the people that were chosen by Ollie also was the personnel he picked on that day weren't right. They weren't fitting. I mean, it seemed like we were playing a 4-2-4 with Matic and Pogba, and then you see our front 4 like too isolated, which gives, so if anyone from the defense, Leicester defense, were to pass the ball forward to their midfield, they would straight away take out 4 players out of. So it was a bunch of those decisions. But I think Bailly would have helped the situation a lot. He would have helped us play he has proven to be better when he's playing against Vardy. Vardy puts in a lot of. He puts in a lot of. I'm the word right now. Yeah, he keeps running in behind and putting a lot of pressure on him, and I just felt like that wasn't the game. I don't know. I'm just fuming inside. I'm trying to figure out like the words. But you know what, Nisar, what do you think? I mean, you watched the game as well.
As in for me, I think just 2 points on our question. I think definitely he was rushed in. Also, I felt that again, I think the Leicester crowd got to Harry Maguire completely from the get-go, which was kind of unexpected. As in, he generally seems to always have a cool head, but I think he was fluffing the balls coming to him, and we absolutely cannot play from the back. As in, I think it is we at least we should like try to balance it more. As like, okay, either practice it more or just don't do it. Just let the forwards take care of the entire line. And I think again, I think probably I know we're talking about Maguire, but I felt what we really missed was Varane. Like you can like he would have probably been able to carry off either Lindelof or Maguire. But yeah, it's that deadly combination, right? Like whenever both of them play, it's like you as a United fan, you're like, oh my god, there is a mistake around the corner.
And the famous Brentford.
McFred and Magaloff, yeah, those infamous names. But yeah, so I think that is pretty much the only thing I wanted to add is to how easily the crowd got to him, and he was just flustered from the get-go and never kind of got into the game. Yeah. And yeah, that combination, very bad.
That's all the more reason to not play. Generally, yeah, I know from experience, like Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, you need to have at least 2 or 3 training sessions. There's no way you play with 1 training session unless you're like the goalkeeper or or maybe you're Salah. But to bring Maguire in, given that he was going back to his old club, I don't think it was a good idea. But I want to focus on something else, right? You did mention you did mention Varane, and I know that was the running theme last season that having a faster player alongside Maguire would enable you to play higher up the pitch. I think what we saw was that is not true. Even though you didn't have Varane, what we saw in terms of the pressing, right? You can't just play high up the pitch because you have speed in your back line. That's not good enough. You need to press as a team. Your midfield. So because one of the first rules in football is back to front, you have to be compact, right? In terms of your lines. So if your defense is high up, your midfield needs to stay close and you need to press the ball. Otherwise, one ball over the top and you're in behind. And that is simply not happening right now. I think you mentioned, Sheldon, that how easy United are to play through. And that stems from Bruno and Cristiano. We saw this at the Euros. Those two playing together did not work for Portugal. He had to redress the balance and basically take Bruno out of the team. And this, I saw one graphic where Cristiano is just standing. There's Soyuncu who's on the ball near the touchline, and he's basically asking Greenwood to go and press. That's not how you press. That's literally how not you press. You forward, your number 9 starts the press, and Greenwood and whoever is behind backs him up and blocks the passing lane. One person pressing the player on the ball is not going to work because then you can easily get out, which is what happened in that particular case. And it kept happening. There were so many instances where the gap between midfield and defense was too large. There was one instance where Maddison just played this 1-2 with Tielemans, I think. It was so easy. Just like that, Tielemans was behind your midfield and he was running at the defense. Doesn't matter how quick the defense is. If you let attackers, especially attackers of the quality Leicester have, run at your defense, you are in trouble. Because then it's just one ball in behind.
As in, I partly agree with you, but I think what I was like getting at of having Varane or Bailly for that matter, I think we know that there is a deficiency in the midfield. Like we chose to play a certain way.
Actually, that's
and forwards, if you want to call it that. Like probably we should just adapt that mentality that if you score 2, we are going to score 3. But like I think without a fast center back, you lose that like small insurance policy that you have as well. Now you are like definitely exposed. As in there is no cheat code around that as well. But yeah, as in I agree that there is, as I think Sheldon also pointed, it was like the entire team not clicking. We just are talking about this one incident, but I think there was like deeper issues throughout.
The balance of the team is off and the organization's off. That's the key here. And the balance is tough to strike because the problem is in the modern game, you can't carry even one player, let alone 2.
That's true.
In this case, maybe 3 with Pogba.
Yeah.
So, you see, for me, I agree with what you say that definitely having pace in the backline helps, but the system it's more about structure as well. So I think those are some of the issues that United have to sort. And You were better last season, I thought, in that sense. They were not as easy to play through.
I think it's a misconception that Bruno and Ronaldo can't play together. I think they can. They have played for Portugal, at least in the past.
When it matters in the difficult games, that's what I'm talking about. You saw what happened in the Euros, right?
They played yesterday as well against Atalanta, and you know what? Ronaldo put in a shift yesterday as far as pressing is concerned. So it's not like they can't play. So I think if but the problem over here still lies in the fact that we conceded 4 goals. You can't blame Cristiano Ronaldo and Bruno for conceding 4 goals. You do understand that. The other thing is that Ronaldo had he had an off day. He had I think couple shots on target, which obviously the goalkeeper was far. Kasper Schmeichel was too good on that day, and he saved it. But the problem over here lies in the fact that, you know what, if we play certain players, the chemistry of our forward line doesn't seem to be working at this point in time. Because if you play Rashford, Ronaldo, and Greenwood, all 3 of them are
forwards, essentially.
Forward-thinking players. They rather shoot first than pass. So that's the sort of, you have like individual selfishness going on over there. So, which is why it's very difficult to work out. Now, as far as pressing is concerned, yes, I agree with you that, you know, if you press, it can't be just one person running towards because it kind of defeats the whole purpose. And you notice that with Bruno, he does a lot of running around and pressing the ball. Now, when you do have Ronaldo in who's 36, he's not going to be able to run every time and close down a player. So that is when you have your young forwards are expected to kind of step up and kind of, you know, do like a cover up job, which I feel that Greenwood and whoever is playing on the left, it could be Sancho, it could be Rashford. All 3 of them are young enough to actually cover for Ronaldo in that aspect. What Ronaldo brings to the team is very different from you're not bringing him to the team for his like work rate specifically. It's those moments of magic. He is a goal scorer. He knows where to be at the right place at the right time. So I think the team needs to be structured and it needs to be, you know, trained in a certain way to kind of get the best out of them. So I think that's not happening, and that kind of falls on Ollie's.
Always been a problem, and it just made worse, as I see it, with Cristiano, because it's always, he is a bit of a liability. I agree that he brings moments and goals, but yeah. Anyway, I think we will be discussing more on this in the coming weeks, I'm sure.
United always takes up a lot of time, anyways. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think we did digress a little bit, but yeah, it is also about some of the other talking points as well in the game. And like I said, there were a lot to discuss. Anyway, moving on. So the next one we picked out was about Brentford. Another impressive performance at home. So Nisarg, is Brentford the toughest place to go in the Premier League right now?
Oh man, yeah. I think after like just watching some of the performances that Brentford have put at home, it almost feels like that Stoke kind of analogy coming back. It's just and not with shitty performances though, with actually good football. So yeah, as in the game against Chelsea, I think it was pretty much all football fans can say that it was, although they lost, it was like Bazigar. They still won a lot of hearts, I think, with their performance. And like, as in you see the stats, right? As in 1.5 expected goals, 16 shots, goalkeeper like Mendy pulling out one save after the other. That last 20 minutes just was crazy. As in, it felt like Barcelona playing against some prime Barcelona playing against just a low block team, which was incredible to see. The crowd, the atmosphere, and even their coach. This seems like there is a philosophy, and the players exactly know. And yeah, one thing which is really impressive for me is like it's not about a player in Brentford. As in, like a lot of, at least I cannot name like even like 3 or 4 of their players, to be honest. But it's just about like the entire unit, the entire team, and the way they perform. So yeah, I think they already proved it with Liverpool, with Arsenal, with Chelsea now. I think they're going to be a tough team to beat at home, especially with the crowds and the atmosphere. It's going to be a tough ground. I'm pretty sure they'll probably knock off points from even more teams going there.
I was so pissed at that. I was so pissed after that game. I was really hoping Chelsea would drop points.
Chelsea would drop points.
And I have no idea if they'd actually played well and outplayed. I thought that might happen. I thought Chelsea would show their class and maybe Brentford wouldn't be able to replicate some of the previous performances. But my God, like you said, that was an absolute battering. Battering. I have not seen a top team, play like that.
The Brentford keeper didn't have a single save to make in the entire game.
He did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Even that Chilwell goal was a worldie. The XG on that shot I don't even know what it was. Probably less than 0.1.
And I think their overall XG was like 0.3 or something. It was like ridiculously low.
And you mentioned, the thing about, you mentioned how they work hard as a team. And I've followed Brentford a bit in previous seasons. And they are a very good football playing team. They have a lot of technical quality. They can play football on the floor, keep the ball, play high and all of that. But one thing that they've shown, and some teams like Norwich and Fulham haven't been able to show, is when they make the step up, they've been able to adapt. And they've not shown that naivety. They're able to change their game. And the way those long balls, right? Chelsea just couldn't get out. And it was not like death by football necessarily, where they were just cutting them to ribbons through passes. It was a lot of long balls. And the thing I realized was there's such a big team. They were winning almost every single ball, pretty much winning the first header. If not the first header, then the second ball.
The second one, yeah, exactly.
The ball was just not going out for 20 minutes. Chelsea just could not get out. It was incredible. The number of saves Mendy had to make. Oh.
And not just saves for the sake of saves, right? As in they were like genuinely match-saving saves.
Right.
Yeah. So that bicycle kick, I was like, okay, how did you score? Like, it's like everything was right, and like it was. I felt really bad. Yeah. Draw is like the least they should have got, but I think they were. The game was theirs pretty much, and it's unfortunate, and that is how football is, right? And you can probably have a shitty night and still come away with 3 points. And I don't know, we have referred in the past whether like this is a sign of a champion team, but that definitely didn't look like a champion team to me. So
it looked like one actually to be. I mean, we discussed this in the last show as well. There's something not quite right. I think they've not struggled to get Lukaku into the game. His goals have dried up.
Yeah.
Even their possession stats are down. The chance creation is down.
Yeah. Everything is pretty much like, I'm just looking at the stats. Like there is almost like possession 56-44. Not that huge of a difference, but as in there's no stat where Chelsea won in that game essentially.
Absolutely. It was a smash and grab basically.
Yeah. So but to answer the question, I feel it's going to be pretty much the toughest away fixture in terms of the non top 6 teams. But it's I'm just dreading what is going to happen when United go there. So it's like,
And United always seem to find a way. If they're in trouble, if Ollie's in trouble, you can be rest assured something will happen like last night.
Yeah.
I was expecting that, but anyway.
Yeah.
Not good.
Who scores the winner, and De Gea probably saves like 1,000 shots.
On this form, he could outstrip Mendy.
Yeah, for sure. But as in, unless you guys had to add anything, that's pretty much what I had to say.
Yeah.
Wait, before we move on, I was just going to ask you, like, where do you think Brentford's going to end up at the end of the season?
Yeah, I think they'll not top 10 maybe, but I don't see them.
You think they'll better what Leeds did last season?
Nah.
Around the same.
I think these teams generally hit a plateau after a point, like, and especially like the squads are not as big, injuries, and then so.
But I think that keeps up the tradition, like I mentioned the last time, that we had one promoted team finish in the top half, I think, every season. Wolves, Sheffield United, Leeds. So it's become a bit of a trend, and Brentford might be on this.
They did win the championship, right? No, they didn't win it. Okay.
And most impressive team, so that's something. Anyway, so
we should probably move on.
Yeah, we should move on. The team who's come up from the championship to a team who might be going back there. And you'd be thinking, why should we discuss a team who looks like they're going to get relegated? But obviously, Newcastle is the talk of not just the town, but the talk of the world right now. At least anybody who follows football in the Premier League. We haven't had time to make a video on what we think. Obviously, I know none of us are happy with the takeover. Like, Premier League has been a bit let down. I mean, Premier League has let football down in a big way by allowing this. And, there was a van going around Newcastle with asking for, justice for Jamal Khashoggi. The journalist was murdered as we believe, by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Mohammed bin Salman was supposed to be behind the takeover, so it's a bit of a shambles. But the bigger shambles is on the pitch. And Newcastle United, oh my god! And the atmosphere was absolutely rocking at Newcastle, as you might expect. It was carnival. Some of it was very unsavory. Fans dressed up as with turban and as Arabs. It was just disgraceful. Some of it, but obviously it's a minority, and every fan base has that. I think for the most part, we understand the Newcastle fans and the pain they've gone through with Mike Ashley and all that. So in a way we can understand that. But the atmosphere was incredible. They got a goal after 3 minutes, and then it just all went to shit basically.
Yeah.
And obviously Steve Bruce, I'm surprised that he managed to last one game. He's been sacked now, and the one thing I've noticed is this season, it's almost like he's tried to play a little more adventurous. They're playing a stupid high line. They don't have the players to play like that, honestly. And clearly they don't have the manager to play like that either. So that's kind of been their downfall. They've been terrible on the defensive side. Last season, they were grinding out games, playing three at the back. They did what they had to get results. It was obviously not going right. But what that shows is the size of the task the owners have. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Who are they going to sign in January? Are they going to be able to stay up?
Yeah, if they go down, that would be that would be probably some sort of justice then, I guess. But as in, I don't know whether that removes the interest and like the pull up. But I feel like Newcastle has a lot of legacy, so I just feel like they'll somehow figure out a way to stay up. But as in, there are some good players they have, right? Like I definitely do like lights of San Maxima, and like they're like
Wilson is amazing. His goal was brilliant. The way he took it.
Yeah, so I feel like they'll just about scrape it, but in January is always a tough market. As in, you can't really. The only thing I can see changing is a manager. So there is the talk of Fonseca coming in. So hopefully, and it was like it would have been good if it was against Tottenham after all the shambles that happened. And like, I don't know what choice was he. I forget the pecking order. But
third choice.
Yeah. So, but I guess probably that might at least enable them to stay up. And I see a revamp probably more in the summer. There are already talks about like a lot of fringe players from like teams like United and like interest in Martial, Barcelona. So I see that being like the path forward for them. I'm pretty sure like big talents would probably still stay away from Newcastle, and it's just these fringe players giving them enough to probably challenge for Europa League next year or Champions League maybe. So,
I think we may end up buying about 3-4 players in January for sure.
If they want to stay up.
But like you generally don't have that sort of like movement in January.
You don't, but then throw money at anything. I mean, everyone has
fair enough.
Price, right? I mean, if I feel like if someone is if they come and they offer like 30-40 million for Van de Beek, Oli will like drive him to St. James's Park himself. So
but then
he probably drive him anyway. Given how much.
But I feel that. Yeah, I feel like they might be under like more scrutiny in terms of just like what they can and cannot do. I don't know. That is just a hope, but it might not be as easy just to like just throw money and keep on doing that, I guess.
But I don't know. Personally, I don't know where we stand on FFP right now. I thought that was something that they were trying to figure out. So
I think there is, yeah, the FFP is still being figured out, but Premier League has their own financial fair play. I think Everton have been hamstrung because of that this season, because they've spent a lot of money and they are not able to spend this summer because of the Premier League regulations. So recently, obviously, I don't know if you guys are following Newcastle. The other clubs have basically uh,
yeah.
blocked the owners from being able to sign sponsorships with companies with links to the ownership.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the oldest tricks in the book, the trick that City pulled in getting Etihad to sign. So yeah, that's a good thing, but it's only temporary so far. I don't know. They'll somehow find a way. That's what these people do. We know that.
Yeah, they have more than enough resources.
And then also, I mean, they could easily get a few players on loan as well with
yeah, I think they'll have to do something.
the obligation of buying in the summer or something like that.
Yeah.
I could.
Knows whatever. I think it's very important that they get players who can hit the ground running. That's the key. They need players who are either Premier League proven or who have the skill sets to play in the Premier League. That's very important because there have been links to players from other European clubs like Coutinho, although Coutinho has Prem experience, so may not be the worst candidate. But a lot of these fringe players at other European clubs, we saw what happened with James last season. So these kind of players they should probably stay away from and get players who can actually succeed because they don't have time. I think January is crucial, and
this kind of reminds me.
Depends on that.
This kind of I know you guys probably, I'm not sure whether you guys checked out Ted Lasso, but shout out to Ted Lasso, amazing series. Any football fan should watch it. But yeah, as in that there is this very similar situation. Like they show it very nicely that there is this billionaire who buys a random club in Casablanca, Morocco, and wants to make it the biggest club, and he's just going out to players, and it's not as easy to convince players to come to clubs as we think it might be, even with money. I think the first thing they have to fix is the manager. It's most likely the manager who would attract good players.
Actually, it's the sporting director, but there's not
fair enough
for that. But yeah, I think having the right manager right now is important.
We read somewhere that they were going to on track to signing a director of football. So going down the right path.
I think they know what works nowadays. It's what works in the modern game, right? Having a good structure in place. They've seen clubs who struggled without it.
Yeah, but as you said, Avinash, I think the more important thing is to they have to pretty much grind their way to buy that time. If they go down, then it is like
setback.
Nothing. Yeah.
Still not. I don't think it'll still affect them in the long run. They'll bounce back up at some point, given the money they're bound to spend, like Wolves did in a way. Like they spent a lot of money in the championship.
But I think it sets them back quite a bit, right? Because then they'll have to first get promoted to attract talented.
A couple of years maybe. But this is being seen as a long-term project, I guess. So yeah, I mean, yeah, none of us is happy, but it is what it is. That's where football is going. So can't do much. We'll just wait and see what happens, I guess. Yeah, I think that's kind of all we had. So as ever, please let us know what you liked. And yeah, I think if you have any points that you want us to talk about, please send it in and we can discuss those from next week on.
Instagram, wherever we have a presence everywhere.
Yeah. So we want to continue with this format and hopefully you liked it. Please do care to like and subscribe again. It helps us a lot. And yeah, see you next week, I guess.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.